Episode 17. Anna just returned from her trip to the farm, and it seems like there's some kind of fight between our new farmer friend and his fiancée. So we're here to check on things with the lady in the art shop. Whatever her name was, I forgot. By the way, does the music not play whenever you're in photo mode? It kind of means that if I try to use this for camera work whenever I'm beginning or ending an episode, there won't be any music playing, if that is indeed how it happens. I think the music cut out when I entered this. And there it is, back as soon as I put the camera away. You can play the music while I'm in camera mode, that's fine. It's not like the sound interferes with the camera. Maybe it was just a coincidence, we'll see. Cecilia, that was her name. Cecilia's colors. It's actually a properly modeled interior. Cool. I'm always so glad to see it. Can we... We can't. We can't go upstairs, but there is an upstairs, so... It's just, more world building? What's the word for building the world in terms of space or something? Like, putting doors around that makes it feel like it's more architecturally feasible. Like doors inside a building that you can imagine that there are bedrooms or bathrooms behind, but you can't actually go into. That might just be called world building. Meditate on this, Diana. Find the answer for me. Empty your mind, calm, deep breaths. A little bit more meditation, Diana. You'll find the answer in there somewhere. Okay, there's no difference if you meditate once or 3 times. Relaxing, I've got to say. Seems to be mostly landscapes. If you live in a town like Borgia Marina, then maybe that's kind of what you're here for, right? Although this doesn't look like Borgia Marina. Maybe sometimes when it floods? Can't be though. This is more like a port town or something. Or it's a part of Borgia Marina I haven't seen? I don't think so. Actually, not all of these are Borgia Marina. But these chickens, notably from the farm, wonder if that's a sore spot for her. We should, actually talk to her first. It's kind of rude what I'm doing. But I'm still exploring. In a moment. Comfy looking place. Didn't expect the greenhouse in the art gallery or whatever. Alright. I think we've established your character through world building or whatever. Environmental storytelling.
Ciao.
Hello. Seen something you like? No, wait. You didn't come to buy a painting, did you? You want to talk to me, right? That's right. How did you know? I'm very observant. It's essential for an artist. I'm lucky. Cecilia Volpucci, pleasure to meet you. She's a heart too. I kind of guessed by the fact that she had an interior alone. Which is a little bit strange, just because, well, if these hearts do in fact mean romance, not just friendship, that means we can choose between Cecilia and the farmer, whose name I'm forgetting, even though it was just one episode. Cecilia, Borgia Marina's carefree painter. Everything she does seems like an ode to colors and nature. I'm Diana. How can I help you, Diana? Right, the vandalism. Kind of feels like if we're choosing between these two people as potential partners, kind of might make the other partner potential partner feel a bit more of a sting? The fortune teller's latest readings have left me a bit perplexed. It really made me think. Maybe I'm getting too anxious. You anxious? I mean, it could happen to anyone, but with those flowers in your hair, I would think otherwise. But she's so convincing when she talks to you. And tell me about the shooting. Really? Senor Gordon shot at Minedu? I guess I'm telling you about the shooting. It doesn't seem possible. He was always kind and caring. How about you, Cecilia? Do you have it in you to shoot anyone? He must be hurting so much. Maybe I should go visit him. And you're generic. Rain, shine, snow, or storm, it doesn't matter. Every day's a good day for art. Alright, speaking of art. So, how can I put this? Come on, Diana. Mom questions people every day, I'm sure I can too. Did you know a vandal hit the Orsi farm? What? I had no idea. What happened? She's pretending she knows nothing about it. I need to change tactics. It was you who defaced the statue, Cecilia Volpucci. Confess. Volpucci. I know the Vol prefix, it's like Volpine, or Volp prefix. Is that why her name is like Volpucci? Because she's a fox? Anyway. You're crazy. You barge into my gallery and accuse me of... I'm going to call the Marcialo right now. Don't you move. No, not that brute. Listen, I'm looking into this. For Adriano. Someone defaced the wooden statue with paint, and I'm helping him find out what happened. I know that's your statue and that, well, you care a lot about each other. You know something about it, don't you? Do you want to talk about what happened? For Adriano's sake. And if things get unpleasant, I'll leave. I like that portrait, with a tail standing up. No fun. Alright. I was hoping she'd confess on the spot. This could end up being a long conversation. Oh my god. There's more? I thought it was just the diorama for solving mysteries, but there's interrogation too. The game just keeps on giving. Interrogating. Put pressure on the suspect you're interrogating, and push them to confess. The fact cards represent the information Diana has, while the statement cards represent the statements from questioning. Move the cursor using left stick, and correctly associate the fact cards with the statement cards to validate the statements of the suspect and receive new cards, okay? We're validating statements with facts, not contradicting. Okay, that's a bit different from, I guess, what I expect from a mystery game. But I guess not all mystery games are about contradicting, obviously. I'm mainly thinking of like Ace Attorney and the like, but even Danganronpa has moments where you're agreeing with people. But this one seems to be mainly corroborating statements. Each fact card can only be used a limited number of times, and the statement cards may require a combination of several fact cards. Interesting. Sometimes Diana can use two special cards, Press and Empathize, on the statement cards to reinforce her position. Cool. So it's not just like robotic fact-checking, you also have to do some sort of emotional manipulation, would be a unkind way to put it, but this is an interrogation. We need to soften them up or kind of get aggressive on them, on the statements if we have to. Matching cards incorrectly will increase the stress of the suspect during interrogation, causing their pawn to move. Once their stress hits maximum level, the interrogation fails. Okay. I think the diorama sections of the mystery solving are designed such that you're supposed to fail and restart and like figure things out just by simulating different possibilities. This one does seem to have like more of a mechanic for actually giving you second chances when you fail, which actually counterintuitively, I guess, means you're not supposed to fail. You're supposed to try to not let that counter reach the maximum. I'm going to try it, I guess, without failing, and hopefully there isn't actually any problem if you do fail, like the diorama. Although, maybe if I read more, it'll tell me something else. When certain of your final answer, use the fact cards in the accusation zone and confirm what you've deduced. Use the joker cards on a statement card to receive hints on which fact cards to use. These are extra joker cards. You'll be given any you don't use as a reward once you've completed the interrogation. Okay, I was wondering if the joker cards might not be a reward if you manage to fail the interrogation, because this is the first time we kind of have the option to fail even though there's a safeguard. So there still might be no actual punishment for failing. So you could like fail all the way and then on your next run of the interrogation just get 0 X marks on your interrogation. Which kind of puts into question why you would even have this whole strike mechanic or whatever. But I guess it's just for better flow. You don't want to immediately fail when you get one thing wrong. Even though that's technically true of what happens in the diorama mystery solving sections. Oh, they're just all over the place. Kinda makes sense. We don't have to neatly organize everything chronologically, or at least they're not neatly organized from the get-go. You have to do that yourself. We have a press with 1 use, I think. Emphasize with 2 uses. Is this a statement or... Oh, this is a statement. Yeah. You can tell just by the wording. And the color, obviously, but... And these are our facts. We have 2 statements that we have to prove, I guess, or not prove, but uncover. We have to delve deeper into them. And we have like 5 different cards, 6 if you include the 2 counts of empathize, to put onto 2 cards, meaning these cards maybe either take 3 cards each or just multiple cards, or some of these cards may be useless to us. Starting with this statement, I haven't seen Adriano in a while, and this statement, I had a hard time recently, but now I'm okay. If we look at this as a tutorial for this interrogation section, the simplicity in this comes in the fact that there are only 2 statements, and we just have to sort these cards, if they are being used, between these 2 statements. The difficulty comes from deciding if these cards are useful or not, or if we have to use all the cards or not, and how many cards on each statement. Haven't seen Adriano in a while, and I've had a hard time recently. This one definitely has to do with Adriano and Cecilia made the statue together. Give me the tutorial again. What's the whole finale segment for? Okay, right, so you can get new cards, so it's not just sorting between these 2 cards, obviously. I forgot about this fact. So yeah, we combine the cards, and then... use fact cards in the accusation zone to confirm what you've deduced. Got it. So we just need to pick 2 fact cards to put here, but we might not have the correct fact cards until we get more. So what if I do this? Yep, we can do that. Just making sure. We only have like 3 strikes or something, but let's try to get it right the first time. She's had a hard time recently. let's do this. And maybe emphasize while doing it. Have you finished? I've got things to do. Alright, that was wrong. I did think this might fit in with it. But could it be like all three of these or just those two and... Wait, does this actually go on? What's going on? Okay, so it's only outlining... hang on. How do these emphasize and press work? I guess you don't need to combine these with these statements. Or rather, you don't need to combine them with the facts when you're already combining them with the statement. You would just need to use emphasize or press alone on these, because you can't combine them. The green outline doesn't extend. Let's emphasize first. Well, yeah, I always overthink things a little. Just the usual stuff. And this one. We know this is untrue, so let's just start with this. Although, this isn't exactly corroborating the statement, so... What I kind of thought was being said in the tutorial, that you're proving the statements, not necessarily true. All we're really doing is getting more information out of the statements, using our facts. Don't think we have to press it. So two friends can't have tea together, and the statue... What can I say? It's a shame. They met, but they just had a chat. I like this. It creates new cards, but eliminates old cards. And like this, you just kind of work your way, non-linearly, to the solution. Just had a chat, huh? I admit I do still think about it sometimes, but I don't really worry about it. We could emphasize again, but we got this card by emphasizing, so I'm not sure that's the best play right now. And I don't know what happened to the statue. Let's start, before we just go throwing the emphasize card on what we think is correct. Let's start with something that we know is probably more true. They made the statue together. That doesn't disprove or prove anything. Adriano still has feelings for Cecilia. This maybe could go with just had a chat. This doesn't disprove or prove anything. These are not mutually exclusive. They could have just had a chat and Adriano could still just have feelings for Cecilia. But it might reveal more information. This will be a test of if we can actually combine these cards in the way that I think we can. I am willing to sacrifice a strike for that. Have you finished? I've got things to do. Okay. Are we over as soon as she hits that last one? Maybe I should not be so willing to do these strikes. It seems like we only get 3, if that last one is the last one. The way that it's laid out, it made me think that we would maybe get 4 or something, but it might just be 3. And obviously we can't do this. Do we want to press anything? Are we sure we want to emphasize anything, or empathize? I don't know what happened to the statue. Okay, damn it, there was more to it, then it would have been obvious. Yeah, the cards only show the first part, but due to the limitations of the text on the card, you have to hover over them. That's what the ellipses is telling me. That is an important fact. I admit I do still think about it sometimes, but I don't really worry about it. Anyway, it's good that we see this here, but the more important one is here. The ellipses that this was hiding. I don't know what happened to the statue. To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen it. So there we go. That's our first in. Our first in because we know that's untrue. The sculpture was a symbol of our relationship. And after what Adriano did, he ruined everything. Cecilia thinks Adriano tarnished the memory of their love. That's a fact. I think, based on the remaining cards, only 2 more statements, we do want to empathize with this again, that she doesn't really worry about it. Although maybe that would be better as a press, because we think she's hiding something? It's hard to say. Still has feelings, and thinks that Adriano tarnished the memory. These two kind of contradict each other, but they're not the 2 cards that go together, so it's not like we can disprove this anyway, that he still has feelings for her. Or disprove that he tarnished the memory of their love, so I think the best move here is going to have to be either a press or emphasize on one of these 2 cards. We could emphasize with this, or we could press it. On this, we just had a chat. We haven't really interacted with this one that much. So I think we want to press it. Emphasizing won't get us anywhere, but this seems like a press to me. There's no point dwelling on it. You know when something is over. I've already put it behind me. I've accepted that it's over between us for good. But you see, us is 2 people. And wait, this has a 2 on the front, so... okay. Where was it? And the statement cards may require a combination of several fact cards. So the numbers usually correspond to how many times you can use a card, but in this case, this is how many cards it requires. That was a mistake that I made at the start, thinking that, or not realizing that, it tells you how much they require. It didn't really show up visually in the tutorial, it just kind of tells you. But yeah, this 2 probably means I need 2 cards, so obviously, one part of the us is Adriano, and he still has feelings for you. We could empathize with it. That might be the play here. But do we want to empathize with this and potentially get new cards? If we did this, we might get a new card to use with this, but we might not. This might just lead to a fact card that we want to end this here. And actually I think... no. I think this is a endgame fact card. We know that our fact cards disappear whenever we use it with a statement card. It yields new cards, usually, but I'm pretty sure this is an endgame card that proves that she vandalized the statue. She thinks Adriano tarnished the memory of their love. So... I think that means we don't want to use this card. If I use an emphasize on this, it would maybe yield a new card to use with this to get our other endgame card. But thinking about this contextually, information that we would get out of her thinking it's over between them, would that yield any facts relating to her thinking about, or not really worrying about it? I don't think so. So I think we empathize with this again after all. Fine. This whole thing between Adriano and me. I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, it did seem like an emphasize, just like contextually. I was just opposed to it because it felt like we were emphasizing twice in a row on the same statement. But I guess that does make sense in a way. We just kind of have to press her with empathy, sort of. Cecilia is still upset about the breakup with Adriano. And that's the other half of our us. Adriano still has feelings, and Cecilia is still upset. It's not over. Excuse me? If he still loved me, he wouldn't have acted the way he did. Cecilia is mad at Adriano and doesn't believe he loves her anymore. That's it. These two cards are kind of similar. Thinks that Adriano tarnished the memory, and Cecilia is mad at Adriano, doesn't believe he loves her anymore. But I guess we got to these two cards through different means. And they just kind of line up at her having a motive. We kind of knew this from the start. But I guess we spelled it out for her. I'm glad we got through without actually failing. It was me. You're right. Good cop. What's that achievement for? For interrogating Cecilia? Okay. That chat went way smoother than I expected. Maybe because Cecilia's not a very good liar. It's better that way. But why? I feel so silly, but I did it out of jealousy. Now this makes the whole fact that we can probably date either one of them a little bit harder to think about, but let's just deal with this right now. Adriano and I, we just split up. I went to the farm specifically to talk about us. It didn't end in the best way. We needed to clear up a few things. Adriano told me what I needed to hear. I was relieved. Then, as I was leaving the farm, I found a piece of fabric. It looked like a skirt. At that moment, I was convinced he was seeing someone else, and that I wasn't the only woman visiting him. I was furious. A skirt, huh? Just kind of lying around? Do you think that's what they do over at the farm? I mean, I guess, maybe. When you live in scenic countryside farm or something, you could. It just seems a little bit, I don't know. Not fitting for this game. But then, what do I know? I saw the statue, got the paint, and I regretted it immediately. I think Adria would hide something like that from me. How silly of me. But I was too ashamed, so I ran away. Since you're investigating for Adriano, you can tell him everything. Well, no, I mean, you have to be the one to do it. I will. But I need a moment. He has the right to know what happened. Okay, that piece of fabric. Where did you find it? Close to the entrance of the cellar. But I took it and kept it. I don't know why. Here, you can have it. I don't want to see it ever again. A skirt piece, huh? I do remember Diana mentioning a skirt some episodes ago in relation to something. We'll put a pin in this. Cecilia found a piece of fabric from a skirt just outside the cellar. The mystery of the statue is solved, but the piece of the fabric found there is strange. Minor thing, but should a period go inside the parentheses? I don't actually know. I don't know what's the proper not triple A, MAA, MLAA, whatever, the correct grammar style for putting periods in sentences or not. It doesn't matter. I must speak to Adriano. I should also talk to Beatrice about this piece of cloth.
Hey.
How can I help you, Diana? Just checking if you have any more dialogue. No. And off we go. I'm sure it won't be the last time we're here. They have to use this interior for other things, obviously. Or it could just be a nice interior they modeled. Now Beatrice is way over here. We'll do that before we visit the farm, even though the farm is technically closer. Actually, no. Since the farm is technically closer, let's do that first. Adriano, I've remembered your name because I was told it, but more importantly, we've solved the mystery, or proved it at least. We got a witness? No. Interrogation? A statement? What's the word? A confession, obviously. We got a confession. Hey, Diana. Hey, did you talk to Cecilia? Forgive the inappropriate question, but I'm already investigating your private life. So, are you seeing someone else without telling Cecilia about it? What are you saying? As I thought. So it was all just a big misunderstanding then. Cecilia found a piece of a skirt at the farm and thought you were seeing someone else. She was very upset and defaced the statue in a jealous rage. She's very sorry. But how could she think such a thing? I barely had time to see her and no time to see anyone else. Quite a misunderstanding. Listen, was there anyone at the farm wearing a skirt in the days before the statue got defaced? Not Chia. Not Pawn or... Not Minedu. His name isn't Minedu, it was, the dad. I forgot the dad's name. I'm sure I'll run into someone who will tell me his name soon enough. But none of those people wore a skirt. And specifically Diana. Neither, but... There's probably no clothing option for her wearing a skirt. I'm pretty sure it's just like the same type of clothing but different, like shirts and whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No, at least not that that you know of. I think there was someone else at the farm that day. Someone who stayed hidden. That day specifically, huh? Well, that might be true, considering that if Cecilia found the skirt just kind of randomly visiting, it would be likely that someone else would have found it, or even Adriano here would have found it before anyone else, so that might have been the first time that it was just out in the open, so yeah, maybe that day. The piece of cloth was near the cellar. Can I take a look at your mysterious cellar of unknowable mysteries? Sure. That was easy. In any case, Cecilia will come to see you soon. She's very sorry. You already said that, Diana, but I know you're trying to smooth things over. Although, it seems like their problems were kind of before this, so they broke up like right before she found the skirt, and then she kind of got angry after seeing it, so this probably won't patch things up between them. I assume. Thanks for the help. The farmer's cellar. I suspect someone poked around in Adriano's cellar. The only way to know for sure is to poke around myself. Just real quick. The mystery over at Piazzale Miramare, the Trattoria. And over here... What did they steal again? I don't think we ever found out, not yet. Didn't we find... We found the boat over at the train station, but I don't know if we found anything else of note there. Just trying to think about connecting threads about what they're trying to steal from here. I guess I was thinking that the only thing that could be in a farmer's cellar would be, and specifically a grape farmer's cellar, would be alcohol. And we know that alcohol was stolen from the Trattoria. We don't know what was stolen from the manor, but it could very well be the same thing. Before I start making assumptions, let's actually find out what was stolen here, if anything. But first, the lore. Oh, there's that chicken. That's a painting by, Cecilia. I guess he had it framed. A copy of it. Sebastiano Buffaloni vince la gara di disegno. Something about design? I don't know this character Sebastiano Buffaloni, I don't think. Don't think we've met. What could this have to do with the cellar, though? Could be the architect, or... That seems to be a drawing of... I don't know. Lemon. Another mystery. We just solved an interrogation and here we are with a mystery. This looks suspicious. Just kind of sitting there? No. Sometimes baskets are just on the floor. You should really put it up, I don't know, on the shelf. And speaking of... The bottle on the floor is one thing, but why the green bottles rearranged? An empty bottle. The empty Centurbe di Mandragora bottle. Mandragora again, huh? This bottle looks familiar. Oh, of course. It's the one that was stolen from Mama Lucia. Wait, this is the bottle? I thought it was just like another one here in the cellar, but okay. This is where they came after stealing from Mama Lucia. Well, first they took the boat all the way to the train station, and then came here? I guess through the connecting road? Kinda makes sense. Maybe just to avoid suspicion, like without walking through town. Actually, why the green bottles though? They pushed the green bottles off the shelf and did something with the empty bottle that they brought in that used to be filled with Mandragora. And now these green bottles are on the lower shelf. I move them all around. They took the empty bottle and maybe mixed it with all of these other green bottles? Or mixed it into the green bottles that are... No, they're now on the bottom shelf, so... Maybe there's something else that they mixed all of the contents into, like some other bigger vessel. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts of the green concoction, and 1 part of the Mandragora to create a new concoction. Maybe. I like walking around in first person. They move the rug. What are they covering? The carpet in the cellar has been moved. It's not like they were covering anything, there doesn't seem to be anything under. Unless they just wanted it near the window or near the drain. And by law of spatial usage, or whatever, the last mystery should be right here in this room. There it is. Kind of obvious. But let's just get a better look around. Lots of wine bottles. I mean, that should be obvious, I guess, but... Gluck? Glock? Is that a popular brand? Hey everyone. I brought all the Gluck Glock. Let's get Gluck Glocking. I wouldn't drink it myself. Glock Glock. I just like to admire the architecture is all. What's this though? It kind of looks like the art for a fireplace, but it's really just kind of there. Here too, another arch that could have been... that used to be a passage but was then filled in and turned into a shelf. But it could just be an arch recessed into the wall. This might be an architectural design choice that I'm just not familiar with. Putting arched recesses into walls. It makes sense for shelving. You don't just have the shelves stick out like these. Okay. I let go too soon. What were they doing with the paint? Some paint cans. They look like they've been opened. And used. A bucket of paint. I'm sure something happened here. Let me think. It's only a few cards, how complicated could the mystery be? I noticed one of them was an infinite use card though. I suspect someone poked around in Adriano's cellar. The only way to know for sure is to poke around myself. Adriano bottles the grape juice and leaves it to age. Okay, so it is grape juice, quote unquote, sure. It's not just grape juice that they're using for the big festival or something, it is alcohol. They're just calling it grape juice for fun or for, I don't know, purposes. Didn't we call the Mandragora alcohol already? Whatever. It's grape juice brand alcohol. Then some mystery happens, and Adriano didn't notice anything out of place. Interesting that the middle step is a mystery. I guess it's up to the player to find out what exactly is happening in the middle. Ah, and there it is. The window does play into things. Oh my god. How much is that? That's 8. We have 8 different things. And we can use these infinitely, except for the skirt piece, which would be at the end, when they leave. Leaving from the window. Alright, let's not overcomplicate things by thinking about how much we use each card. The first step is always going to be the first step. What do they do first? It wouldn't be paint. It would be the carpet, wouldn't it? Because they entered from the same place they exited. Could they have left the skirt piece when they entered? I feel like it's more like an exit piece. Let's say they did it when they entered. They could have just not noticed, and then they left. But would you not notice something like that? That your skirt tore? I think you would. The only thing that I can think of is they left this because they were in a hurry. And if they had the time to do all of their nasty business down in the cellar, then I don't think they would have had it happen when they entered. They could have just gone up to retrieve it. So I think it's most likely that they were in a hurry to leave. Their skirt tore, they definitely noticed, but they couldn't go back for it because they had to leave. So this is going to be my last card, I think. So I think the first thing is that they moved the carpet upon entering, disturbed its position, and it might come back to use later. When they're exiting, because we do know that they moved it back into place or something. No, that's wrong. Seems like she emptied something onto the ground. I thought she disturbed it when she entered, like moved its position. But no, it was in the center originally, and then it was closer to... Wait, what was its initial position again? We found it after everything in the center, that it was moved to the center. It was originally towards the window. So I thought she moved it when she entered, but that doesn't seem to be what was happening. I don't think I did that right. Let's just keep going though. She emptied the bottle? So we're just going to be playing Ring Around the Rosie then? And what? She emptied it again? These... Like I mentioned when I first found these cards, each of these cards kind of represents a space. The room near the window, this room, and then the room Adriano's in right now that kind of like a laundry room, but not really a laundry room, just a storage room, I guess. Don't know how to distinguish between all three of them, but each of these cards kind of corresponds to each of those, so I think the way we want to play this is use cards that aren't the room Adriano is in to avoid detection. So maybe we just play the bottle again, and when he moves, we can move into the painting room. Not sure why we're still doing this, though. Or is he going to come into this room? Do we move the carpet again? I don't think we do. Oh, but he does come in. It just kind of seemed like he was facing this room. He still hasn't noticed anything. We still have 4 more turns. What if we go to the paint bucket now? Is Adriano gonna go back into the room he was just in? It looked like he was investigating something he heard and didn't see anything, so he might just be heading back into the paint room, but let's try it. Nope, he was heading towards us. Damn, we're missing something. We still are avoiding detection, though. What if we just try the paint again? And after this, it would have to be the rug and the... Yeah, she still doesn't have what she needs. And he's still confused. Alright. Maybe we start with the empty bottle this time. First, Adriano actually has to leave the bottles of grape juice to age. He didn't even get to that step, so... Maybe we do start with the skirt piece, just as a buffer. I guess she could lose it without noticing. What do I know about pieces of clothes tearing off, even though I think you might notice it? Maybe people don't notice when this happens. Oh. Is that really how it happens? I can imagine that being used at the exit too, that she hops into the bottle. Or hops into the bush. But that does make sense either way, I guess. Then what? We know Adriano wants to move over there to the paint, right? So maybe the carpet? What is she doing? I think I still have it wrong already. What if I do the carpet again? We just know that the carpet seems to toggle putting it over the drain and moving it back. So it has to do something with the drain, nothing to do with like disturbing. Here, just go into the bottle room, let me see what happens. Okay, so we're not exactly avoiding detection here. It seems like Adriano moves whenever we move. I guess we could still kind of get caught, but can we just like chase him out of that room by... Yeah, we can. So in a way, we're actually directing Adriano by using the thief. It's actually the opposite of what I thought. And actually they managed to do what they wanted to do with the paint this time. So if we want Adriano to go back to leave it to age, I guess he would do that in the paint bucket room. So let's go into the bottle room. Okay, and she takes that route. I guess they're always going clockwise or something. Ah, but then he would notice something out of place. So it's not that he notices the thief, it's that he would notice something out of place. Understand? This one isn't as easy as I thought it would be. Maybe I really should be using a hint here. He doesn't pick up the bottles until we go for the paint. How can we make it so that he doesn't notice the paint? I can't imagine. What if we go for the paint bucket first? I guess we haven't tried that yet. Yeah, obviously that doesn't work. Maybe his question mark isn't him not noticing anything, it's him not having any actions to do. No real reason for being there. We know that she can only use the paint after she sets the bottle down. This definitely seems like the thing we have to do first. Can't imagine what we do with this damn paint bucket though. And then he just notices. This is strangely giving me the most trouble. But there we go, something new. Somehow he moved a bit differently from how I expected. If I do the carpet again. We'll probably do that after, I guess. Every time I go into the bucket room, or the bottle room, he goes into the bucket room. Alright, we got something new somehow. It's because she's holding the paintbrush. I have to keep in mind what she's holding. Maybe we start with this after all. So she needs to apparently paint something on the ground, under the rug. So I think the first thing we want to do is let Adriano start getting his little basket thing. Which would be moving the empty bottle. Or putting the bottle on the shelf so that it will be emptied later. Then we go for the paint. And we simply don't go into the wine room. Because that'll move Adriano into the bucket room. So we do what we need to do without moving Adriano there. And that means Adriano just keeps on doing things in that room. Fill those up with full bottles. Then we go back to the paint room. And cover our tracks. And then he's done. He has no reason to go back. That's why he doesn't notice the paint. Okay. So it wasn't a matter of covering our tracks, it was a matter of... crap. Our tracks. Okay. Well, we've solved it now, haven't we? As I suspected from the beginning, that is only the last step. Alright, it's all come together. We know exactly what you were doing here, except we don't, but we know the order that you did things in. So first the bottle. And then the paint. And for whatever reason, she paints some kind of sigil under where the carpet was. And again, the carpet isn't exactly in the position we found it in when we played as Diana in the present time. Doesn't matter. Return the paint bucket, or the paintbrush. And Adriano is done. No skirt to notice. So then we can move the carpet? Is he gonna walk by the window and notice us? No, wait, we don't move the carpet. We get the bottle back. She was only putting it on the shelf to free up her hand, so... Now we can actually grab the bottle and pour it onto the floor. Which again, we still don't know why she's doing this, but apparently she was pouring it on that thing there. Bottle in her hand, she pours it onto the floor before moving the carpet back. That's what we've been seeing this whole time. And lastly, she leaves the bottle. Well, not lastly. The last thing in the cellar before she leaves. Adriano just kind of hanging out, huh? And that's it. The reason it was left in the bush after all was because she was exiting. It took a while, but we solved it. Whoever went through here moved the rug. Could they have put something under it? Gee, I was wondering. When we saw that it could be moved with the chronolens or whatever, I thought it would be pretty obvious to move the rug and check ourselves, but looking under it with this magic tool, we didn't see anything. I guess this doesn't show us anything that would have been there, like X-ray or whatever. It does have limitations, this thing. Let's see what's under this rug. What is it? The thief would have had to go through a lot of trouble, a lot of work to trace out this thingy. Occult symbol in the cellar. A mysterious occult symbol found in Adriano's cellar. What for? It seems too elaborate for a simple prank. That's curious. An esoteric symbol. Perfectly formed. Oh, Signor Orlando, I didn't hear you come in. When did you get here? And why did you get here? You didn't hear. I came to get a few bottles of grape juice for my private stocks. I didn't expect to find all this commotion, let alone a symbol such as this. Another interesting find, Caproni, I must admit. Did you say an esoteric symbol? What the heck is it doing here in Borgia Marina? You tell me. Maybe Adriano has taken to the occult? Actually, someone sneaked into the cellar just to draw it. You mentioned the occult. Do you know what the symbol means? I'm afraid not. It seems to resemble... What is this? Is this a real thing? It seems to resemble Etruscan characters, but other than that, I couldn't say. If you find anything out, let me know. You stepped into the role of detective, I see. The mayor asked me to lend a hand, that's all. Have fun, then. See you soon, Signorina Caproni. Have fun, then. See you soon, Signorina Caproni. Alright, let's get a move on. Nothing to see here. I have to go and inform Adriano. I got to tell Beatrice about this symbol too. Well, I'm glad I waited to report to her until afterwards. But can't we see it for ourselves? Can't move the rug? That's fine. Diana, just stare at it with your mind's eye and try to picture what the hell this occult symbol could have been used for. I'll do the same, and in the meantime, it'd be a good chance to take a break.